Now, mother of two, Lynsey Quy, disappeared on Christmas Day last year. The police, after months of searching for Lindsay, are now treating it as a murder inquiry. And as a result, they've dug up her husband Mitchell's garden and scoured his house, convinced that she's dead. They have yet to find a body. Mitchell is the only one, in fact, who believes that she's still alive, and he's here with us now. Mitchell, why do you think they seem to be so convinced that you're, what do they call you, a legitimate suspect?
Well, I suppose they say the husband's always the suspect.
In December 1998, Lynsey Quy, a young mother of two, suddenly disappeared without a trace. Mitchell Quy quickly took to the media, portraying himself as a distraught husband, desperately searching for his missing wife. For 18 months, the police, Lindsay's family, and the community tirelessly searched for answers. But as evidence grew and inconsistencies in his story began to emerge, his lies started to unravel. This is the chilling story of Mitchell Quy. Southport, England, a charming seaside town known for its beaches and Victorian architecture, home to couple Mitchell and Lynsey Quy and their two children. Lindsay, the youngest daughter of the Wilson family, was born in 1977. She grew up in a large family with her parents and 5 siblings. Lindsay was beautiful both inside and out, with a dazzling smile and a personality to match. Her mother, Linda, fondly described her as bubbly, fun-loving, and outgoing. In February 1995, at the age of 17, Lindsay became pregnant by her first serious boyfriend. They got engaged soon after, but Lindsay broke off the engagement several months into her pregnancy. 5 months pregnant and alone, Lindsay met Mitchell Quy, a 20-year-old casino croupier. Mitchell initially seemed like the charming boyfriend Lindsay had dreamed of, loving and attentive, often showering her with gifts and cards. Initially, Lindsay's family approved of the relationship and thought Mitchell was a good man who treated their daughter well. The couple had a whirlwind romance and were married on August 1st, 1995, after only 5 weeks. Mitchell's only family member present at their wedding was his younger brother, Elliot. That night, the newlyweds had a heated argument, perhaps foreshadowing the troubled times ahead. They moved into a small home in Southport where Lindsay's daughter, Robin, from her previous relationship, was born. Almost immediately, Lindsay began to see a darker side of her new husband. Mitchell quickly became controlling and violent, and Lindsay wanted him to leave. Each time, however, he managed to convince her to stay and try to work things out. A year after Robin was born, Lindsay discovered she was pregnant again with Mitchell's child. Aware that the marriage was failing, she decided to have an abortion to avoid bringing another child into a violent household. Mitchell was furious and left her. Struggling alone and with little contact with her family, Lindsay took out an injunction against him after he beat her during an argument. Despite still being married to Lindsay, Mitchell was involved with multiple women during this time. In April 1997, after 5 months of separation, Lindsay took Mitchell back. For a while, things seemed to improve, and Lindsay decided she wanted another child. She soon became pregnant again. However, the harmony didn't last. One night, when Lindsay was 4 months pregnant, Mitchell flew into a violent rage. A neighbor saw Lindsay running down the street with her daughter and described seeing a door lying outside, broken glass on the ground, and blood smeared on the paintwork. The neighbor warned Lindsay that Mitchell would kill her if she didn't leave him. This incident resulted in their eviction, but Lindsay chose to stay with him. The couple's son was born in October 1997, but by the following year, Mitchell left the family home. Despite the split, he continued to maintain regular contact with his children. Due to his erratic behavior, Lindsay was terrified of him and was given a personal attack alarm for her safety. With the help of Women's Aid, a charity for female victims of domestic abuse, she and her children found and settled into a new home. Lindsay decorated her children's bedrooms and filled the house with toys, determined to create a safe and happy environment for her family. In the summer of 1998, Mitchell was working at Southport Pleasureland and was desperate to see Lindsay again. Their son's first birthday in October provided Mitchell with the perfect excuse to re-enter Lindsay's life. Feeling increasingly lonely, Lindsay relented and took him back, but kept it from her family. Within weeks, she realized she had made a terrible mistake. Tearfully, she confessed to her sister that she couldn't get Mitchell to leave. Her sister, who had intervened many times before, told Lindsay that she had to be the one to make him leave for good. As her sister was leaving, Lindsay handed her a note that read, "Please help me." Her sister showed the note to their mother, but they felt there was nothing more they could do. A decision they would regret for the rest of their lives. Lindsay tried to put on a brave face, especially during Christmas. Secretly, Lindsay had started looking into divorce and had arranged a meeting with a lawyer to discuss her options. In early December, she hugged and kissed her mother goodbye after a Christmas shopping trip. The last time they would see each other. On Christmas Eve, Lindsay's mother tried to deliver presents but got no answer at the door. Phone calls went unanswered. Later, Mitchell appeared at her house claiming Lindsay was getting ready to go out with friends. Lindsay's father told Mitchell he hoped there would be no trouble and wished for a quiet Christmas. Lindsay was last seen alive on December 15, 1998, and was reported missing by a social worker on February 5, 1999, after 53 days of no contact. Neither Mitchell nor her family and friends reported her missing, as her family had grown accustomed to Lindsay isolating herself for weeks at a time. Mitchell claimed that on Christmas Day, Lindsay left their home and never returned.
When she came in the morning, she was out of her face. She came in at 7 o'clock in the morning. She went straight up to bed, and I got the kids up then, opened the presents up. She showed no kind of interest in the kids on Christmas Day. We'd had trouble in our relationship, and we decided to separate before Christmas. But we were going to stay together through Christmas. I thought I was going to leave after New Year, but she's up and left before then.
After Lindsay's disappearance, her father, Peter, took on the responsibility of picking up and dropping off the children at Mitchell's home. Despite his deep resentment towards Mitchell, he remained composed for the sake of his grandchildren. The family knew Lindsay, a devoted mother, would never simply abandon her kids. Mitchell told the children that Mummy had run away but would be back soon. Robin frequently talked about her mother, and one day, she unexpectedly told her grandmother that her mum was dead. When asked where she had heard this, Robin fell silent. Mitchell claimed to have seen Lindsay alive on 2 separate occasions, once in the marketplace and again in a black Mercedes. Despite his claims, the police were convinced he was responsible for her disappearance. On February 27, 1999, Mitchell was arrested on suspicion of murder, incitement to cause GBH, and fraud. He admitted to committing fraud by forging Lindsay's signature on her income support benefit books while she was missing. The murder and GBH charges were later dropped due to insufficient evidence, and Mitchell was only convicted of fraud, receiving a community service order. Once the charges were dropped, Mitchell's confidence soared. He let documentary makers film his life as he publicly pleaded for his missing wife's return. He appeared on the popular TV show This Morning to defend his name and criticize the smear campaign against him.
Did you kill her?
No.
Why would you walk out on the kids as well?
I don't know. It's a question you could only ask Lindsay.
Mitchell also welcomed journalists into his home to assert his innocence and revealed plans to sue the police for arresting him without evidence.
Did you kill Lindsay?
I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to answer that question because I don't need to. You make up your own mind, because eventually everyone will find out.
Detectives believed he became obsessed with the attention and drama, relishing his role as the centre of media focus. In January 2000, the police suspended their search, causing the case to stall. However, Lindsay's family remained determined and continued their search. The family enlisted a psychic medium to help find Lindsay. The psychic sensed Lindsay surrounded by water, but could not provide any specifics to narrow down the search. After 16 months, Mitchell believed he had evaded justice, but things were about to change. Nearly a year and a half into the investigation, police were convinced Lindsay had not been alive since her last sighting and were certain Mitchell was lying. Detective Superintendent Jeff Sloan's team decided they had gathered enough circumstantial evidence to build a case against him. On June 7th, Mitchell was arrested again on suspicion of Lindsay's murder. During the following 2 days of questioning, he initially refused to cooperate. But when faced with the damning evidence, Mitchell broke down and confessed, revealing horrifying details beyond anyone's expectations. The detectives heard how Mitchell had strangled Lindsay during a heated argument after she revealed her plans to divorce him and seek full custody of their children. He held her down for 20 minutes before she died. To dispose of her body, Mitchell placed Lindsay on their bed and stuffed towels around the door to mask the odour from their young children. With the assistance of his brother Elliot, a butcher, they dismembered her body in the family's bath. The remains were placed in plastic bags and discarded. Mitchell and Elliot disposed of Lindsay's head and hands in a trash pile and buried her torso, referred to as the carcass, in a shallow grave near a fairground. During a disturbing police tour of Southport, Mitchell showed where he had dumped Lindsay's remains. Throughout this, he appeared oddly jovial, more focused on the cameras documenting the scene than on the gravity of his actions. Although devastated, the family finally found some closure, confirming their suspicions about Mitchell. They were heartbroken and horrified by his callousness. While they were able to lay Lindsay to rest, her head and hands were never found. The aftermath of Lindsay's murder at just 21 years old left profound wounds on her family and the community. Her children in particular endured tremendous suffering. Lindsay's brother Peter was deeply affected by the tragedy and, overwhelmed by grief, ultimately took his own life. This added another layer of heartache and stress to the family, underscoring the immense impact of Lindsay's death. In January 2001, Mitchell Quy trial began at Liverpool Crown Court. The public gallery breathed a sigh of relief when Mitchell changed his plea to guilty. He was convicted of Lindsay's murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. Mr. Justice Brian Leveson, QC, condemned Quy breathtaking cynicism, setting a minimum term of 17 years before he could be considered for parole. His brother Elliot was subsequently sentenced to 7 years for his role in disposing of Lindsay's body. Since his imprisonment, Mitchell Quy has applied for parole 3 times, all of which were denied. The most recent review noted some improvements on his part, but also highlighted ongoing concerns about his behaviour toward fellow inmates and staff, as well as his involvement with drugs in prison. Lindsay's life, though tragically cut short, remains deeply felt by those who knew her and by everyone who hears her story. As her family and community keep her in their hearts, Lindsay's story stands as a powerful reminder of the need to tackle domestic violence and work toward a future where such tragedies are prevented. If you've been affected by the themes discussed in this episode, know that you're not alone. Domestic violence can have profound effects on those who experience them, and it's important to seek support. These resources offer a range of services, including crisis intervention, counselling, and support for individuals affected by domestic violence. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel for more content like this. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.